HITCon South Gujarat, 13 to 14 April 2019 at Surat. Healthcare Technology Conference for doctors, by doctors. Powered by Management Medicos.
Good afternoon. I think in many ways I kind of stick out of this exalted group here. I'm a doctor, but not in an MD or an MBBS sense. I'm a researcher, a biophysicist, a biochemist. I'm also a Subramaniam, so Manne Gujarati Natti Avartu. So I'm just picking up a little bit here and there. And also, I don't think I can ever keep up with the humor component of Dr. Kulkarni or Dr. Desai or Dr. Dhruv. But I think we will be touching on something hopefully useful for everybody going forward. And I think as Dr. Dhruv mentioned, quite a few of those innovations which he presented as epoch innovations which came out in 2018, the question is, there's a lot of work which went behind it, right? So it took, I'm sure, many of those innovations to come to life, right, in a commercial sense, in a magnified sense, in a scalable sense, took multiple years, right? Devices, diagnostics typically take 5 to 8 years to come to life. Even health technologies to come up to scale take a lot of time, need a lot of resources, need a lot of hand-holding, facilities, etc., etc. And that's where we come in. So as the title says, it's about Doctorpreneur. So we try to, be a partner. So first of all, I would really like to thank Management Medicos and the whole HITCon group, Dr. Pratnesh, Dr. Darbar, Dr. Abhay Dikshit, Dr. Mehul, for the very kind invite. And we're very proudly, we would like to proudly mention that we are an innovation partner associated with them. So if you look at how you want to evangelize technology, right, so you have current technology which needs to be adopted, right? And that's where all the experts are coming in and they're presenting the information to everybody. Go use it, go adopt it, go take it forward, right? Now, there's also something behind which is yet to be created, right? But which many of you in the clinical sense know that there is a need, right? This could be done better. This should be done this way rather than what is out there. So basically the next wave of innovation of technology, right? Technology is a very broad word. It encompasses many things. So when you want to bring the next wave of technology on board, hopefully that's where Venture Studio, which is a startup incubator with Ahmedabad University and many other incubators across India, will be a platform and an ecosystem for all of you. With that said, let's just see what a startup incubator can do for you. So I was just going through some literature as to how many tech doctorpreneurs are there, right? So all doctors are entrepreneurs. You have your own practice and you're all, flourishing. Many of you have your medium-sized clinics or hospitals even, etc., etc. But when I looked at a study by Duke, right, in 2007, it's a bit dated, but it said that, out of the 26,000 medical device patents in the US, right, more than 20% of them were from physician inventors. Right, 20% of all patents. And so now you're looking at companies like Medtronic, J&J and all these epochs being there, but still 20% of the innovations were from physician inventors, right? And that's because the physician inventors obviously have the toolkit, but they're also very close to the marketplace, right? So they're able to anticipate the technological trajectories. Many instances, they are the technological trajectory, right? They think and conceive of a solution which later sometimes the companies bring on board. But it's very interesting that 20% of the patents were from physician inventors. And there was another study by Temple University in Philadelphia a bit recently. It said that about 170 of the pre-market approvals, so this is a regulatory pathway in the US, FDA, so they have what is called the pre-market approval for medical devices and diagnostics. So when they looked at about 170 of them, again, they found that the physician-founded startup companies accounted for more than 11% of them. This is a fairly sizable number, right, given the size of the US medical diagnostic and the device industry and with big giants out there. But it clearly showed that the startups from physician-founded startup companies accounted for more than 11% of all the approvals within a time range, right? So this shows that, the doctors, either in the forefront or behind the scenes, are driving innovation, right? So we just want to make that a reality in India as well and take the next plunge, especially because of the unmet needs and the amount of importing we do. If you look at medical devices, we are importing close to 80%, in fact more than 80 to 90% in some areas from abroad. And there's no reason why they should continue going forward, right? So this basically lays down the framework saying that there is plenty of innovation which comes from the doctor community, and we hope that that will be the story for India also going forward. And we know that the doctors innovate across the board. So we in fact have about 4 doctors incubated with us as startups. So one is in health ICT, a couple of them in devices, and a person in diagnostics. So it's that broad, right? So innovation can come in different areas and shapes and forms. Devices, diagnostic, therapeutics, and health tech, right? And it can happen both individually and inside organizations as well. But if you look at sheer statistics, the number of doctor entrepreneurs, right? I mean, not like setting up your practice, but becoming a doctor tech entrepreneur, right? Bringing your solution to the market is absolutely low. It's stunning. It's less than 1%, even in an advanced economy like the US, where the doctors are bringing their innovations to market. Not to say that they have not thought of the innovation, not to say that they have not conceived of the innovation, but they've just not been part of the journey to bring it into the market. And I hope we can play a small part in changing that. And it's quite surprising because doctors and entrepreneurs, the skill sets are extremely similar, right? There is clinical judgment, which an entrepreneur uses in the sense of the market. Obviously, the doctor knows the market. He's close to the market. He is the market. They deal with uncertainty. Decision making is very decisive. Strong people skills, very action-oriented, question observe, work ethic, 360 view, pivot fast, driven, motivated. I mean, these are, if you look at the characteristics of an entrepreneur, all these are front and center. And if you map them to what a doctor does, all of these are also prime and front and center. So what I'm saying is, you have the ideas, you have the skill sets, we just have to bring it together. And one of the things I think we probably are lacking in our ecosystem is that we do not encourage and support such innovative initiatives, right, and calculated risks. Dr. Raval is out here, we've had some conversations, we hopefully will take it forward, in a conversation or two, right? So Venture Studio and other startup incubators across India hopefully will present a holistic environment, a platform for all the doctors to help take their innovation forward, right? And what do we bring in? The whole idea is that we want to help de-risk the innovation journey, right? If you look at the innovation journey of a startup or an idea, it starts with ideating right here. And many a time it dies right here. You have an idea and you're just so busy, you're just overwhelmed with what is currently going on, it just remains an idea and it goes into the back burner. Meanwhile, somebody else has thought of it and they've moved forward, right? And so we don't even progress to the next step. Next step is, after you think of the idea, you want to put some structure around it, some concepting around it, right? This is when you are really thinking of, hey, should I really move into this or not? And finally, at some point, you want to commit to it, right? And say, okay, I'm going to do it, come what may. Let's see what we need to get this done. But this is not, I mean, if you look at the time graph here, this could be several years. A doctor can go from here to here, simply because sometimes there's not enough in the ecosystem to help support them, right? For example, in order to take your innovation forward, you need resources, monetary resources. You also need facilities, right? We talked of 3D plotters, for example, or we thought of 3D printers. We need, for example, if you're making very high precision braces, you need metal 3D printers, which should be able to print with resolutions of, less than 10 microns, for example, right? So you need all sorts of facilities also. And plus you need a platform of mentors and experts in different areas in the industry to help take this forward. But what an incubator does, which I'll get to in a second, is try to de-risk this whole journey. So this whole journey is where you will spend in an incubator, which will help in fine-tuning the ideating and the concepting, will encourage you to commit for it, and then will deploy the resources needed for you to take it forward from a committing to a validating stage, right? So you'll first have your proof of concept, and then you'll have what is called a minimum viable product, which you'll test either as a trial or as a pilot, what have you. And then you'll come back, you'll do some iteration, and then you'll move it forward. And what an incubator also does is that we handhold you during this process. but we also hand you off in a kind of a quasi-sustainable state to the next level, right? So, for example, if you have an angel investor or a pre-series A venture capitalist, once we will also help you get some funding from them so that the institutional investors will then take you forward to the next area of scaling. So the incubator's job is out here to de-risk this entire journey of high risk. Venture capitalists claim and they crib about the risk they take in this region alone. Right? They say that only 10% of the companies they fund become successful, and they just don't even think about the risk which the incubators take, which is at least tenfold more. But we are there to help all of you to make it succeed and successful. Right? And so what do we do as incubators? So typically when any thought comes in, first you want to address the product market fit. Right? As much as entrepreneurship may seem like an art, it is also a science. Right? Business is also a science where there are very precise methodologies you can adopt, right from market research, right from intellectual property prior art search, right from bringing that all into a design input, putting a product development strategy in place, and then going forward in product development, and then to a go-to-market strategy, which could be channels, etc. So we will help in fine-tuning this, right, the incubators, and then help in the product development and acceleration, and finally in also an early clinical validation, right, in the go-to-market. And along this way, there are a lot of strategies which need to be accounted for. It has to be intellectual strategy, intellectual property, it has to be regulatory, it has to be financial, and of course the market also. And along the way, we will put a funding infrastructure around it, we'll try to put some facilities around it, we'll try to put some mentors in the right industry around it, and also a network around it, right? So that's what we do. We try to provide a platform for all our doctor entrepreneurs. So for example, at Venture Studio, we have a very fairly advanced prototyping lab. Right? So if you're trying to do medical devices and you want to get into some kind of rapid prototyping early, we do have some facilities. There's also wet lab facilities if you want to develop a diagnostic. So I was in a cancer diagnostic startup where actually it was a spin-off of two doctors in the US. So they were trying to develop an antibody which was for immunohistochemistry as a diagnostic for early breast and prostate. So they were looking at PCNA, proliferating cell nuclear antigen. But they were working hardcore in the wet lab when they were also having their practice. So we do provide that as well, right? And then a whole bunch of mentors along different areas. The whole idea is there are experts in each one of these areas which need to come forward. For example, there's a group called Invent India in Ahmedabad, right? So Sudhir, Sandy Sananan, he does a great job in helping a lot of people bringing innovations to market. So he's worked with doctors, he's worked with other people, medical devices, what have you, right? So we'll put such people around people. So if you want to look at intellectual property, you have Krishna and Saurashri, so on and so forth. So we'll put this platform around, the services, the facility supports will be there, a mentor group and a platform, and also we'll try to maximize the right kind of capital you need at the right time. So there's a lot of good money, early money which can be had. For example, the government of Gujarat, the Industries Commissionerate gives a 20 lakh scheme, 10 for product development, 10 for market, for early stage innovation, right? So you also have something called Nidhi Prayas from the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, which provides about 10 lakhs for early prototyping. So this can come in very handy for medical devices or such startups. So we can try to maximize. For example, the Biotechnology Ignition Grant from the Department of Biotechnology gives about 50 lakhs for early proof of concept or validation studies. So we can help you try and maximize on these grants, right? And then after that, when you need the next set of funding, we could either look at funding aggregators. There are some people who aggregate with HNIs, high net worth individuals, or institutional angel networks. There are many of them. Indian Angel Network is the biggest across India. And also later on in early venture capital. We don't go into Series B, Series C, but early pre-Series A, Series A is where we do, and then we pass the baton on. So we also could help in maximizing it. And as I told you, the journey of entrepreneurship is a very involved one, right? So a lot of people need to come in a lot of different areas. And so you would have the expertise through multiple partners, right? On the legal side, on the financial side, on the intellectual property side, on different experts in different areas. Of course, we are proud partners of Management Medicos. You'll have on the facilities side as well. So you name it, and on the financial side. So we'll have to put all this together as an internal support system for an innovator, for an entrepreneur, be it product development or business development. And so, we've been in this for some time now. I think Venture Studio was created by Ahmedabad University in 2011 with a collaboration with Stanford University at that point of time. I joined them recently in early 2017. And we're really bullish. We really think India is going to break out into the future. We've had a few successes. One of our earliest startups was bought out 4 million. We currently have actually 4 doctors actually pursuing their innovations with us. One is in health ICT, 2 in medical devices, and 1 in diagnostics. So we're really, doing what we're talking, right? So we're putting the, money where the mouth is, basically. So we really hope that, this can really pick up going forward. We have quite a few funds started. 40% of our startups are in revenue mode, and we've been receiving some accolades along the way. So I think we have a great need in India, especially, of course, globally as well. I was looking at a market research report which said that only 2% of qualified doctors are in rural areas. So that means that if you really want to take, medical service to the hinterlands of India, you'll have to innovate, basically, right? It's not going to be every person going there rurally to perform the service. It's got to be a remote ICU or a remote care system, what have you, right? So there's different ways in which, I'm almost done. So the unmet needs are huge. You look at diagnostics, there are still cases of maternal death, which can be largely prevented through early detection. In devices, we import everything under the sun, with the exception of, catheters and needles and some basics. We're just importing everything under the sun. So I think this has to change, especially with the Make in India drive and the Skill India and everything. I think we're rightly poised. The ecosystem is coming together across India, and young doctors are jumping into it. As I said, we have 4. Rohan with Plexus MD is doing a great job as well. So I think we are poised to take stock and control of our own life and needs, and to take this forward. So I think India definitely counts on all of you to make a difference, and we really hope. We'd like to thank, of course, Management Medicos as their innovation partner to work with the whole community to further the cause of our society through innovation. But I really want you to think that you can do it. In spite of all, the burnout talk we have and all that stuff, you guys have the best ideas. You are close, you know the solution. You just have to take a step back. There are a lot of people out here who are willing to help. We are ready to help, right? And our commitment is just to make India great again. That's about it, right? That's why many of us come back, many of us are all out here. So we really hope you can just take a step back and take that first step, and the ecosystem is right there for all of you to make it happen. Then I'd like to close. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to take a few.
Yeah. HITCon South Gujarat, 13 to 14 April 2019 at Surat. Healthcare Technology Conference for doctors, by doctors. Powered by Management Medicos.